Hey everyone, welcome to a special edition of the Alec Walt Show. It is, of course, me, Conor Robinson, here with the eponymous Alec Walt to my left. We're here to bring you some special breaking news in the NFL. It appears that Tim Tebow has signed a one-year deal with the Jacksonville Jags. Well, I'm just going to jump right in, man. What are your initial thoughts on this one-year deal?
I think it's funny that Tim Tebow's back. I mean, hey, he's reunited with his old coach. He's back in his hometown. I mean, it's pretty cool. I mean, there's been a little bit of a buzz around Jacksonville this year. They drafted Trevor Lawrence, who's one of the best quarterback prospects we've seen in a pretty long time. They signed Urban Meyer as the head coach, who won 2 national championships with the Florida Gators. And now they signed Tim Tebow as a tight end who's from Jacksonville and played with Urban Meyer and won 2 national championships with Urban Meyer in Florida. I mean, it's kind of funny how all those kind of piecing together, but I mean, he's 33 years old. He hasn't played in the NFL in years. I think it's been, like you told me before the show, since 2012, since he recorded some sort of stat. Yes, he's bounced around. He's even played some professional baseball. So it's gonna take a little. He's gonna have to definitely earn his spot. It's not gonna be easy. But one of the best college players we've ever seen is now giving another shot in the NFL. I think it's a cool story. I mean, I don't know if he's gonna make it, but good for Tim Tebow if he can find a way to get his way back in the NFL.
Yeah, and you touched upon it there with his college career and, him being a Heisman winner and winning a couple national trophies. Do you think that his impact is going to be more off the ball as opposed to him actually playing in the offensive, lineup?
Oh, yeah, because, I mean, right now for Urban Meyer, you're in the culture building stage. You just got there. Now, obviously, he's had a few things go right in his first season. He had the number 1 overall pick, drafted Trevor Lawrence, had 3 picks in the top 33, has some talent already on the roster, some money to spend in free agency. He's not an NFL coach. He's a college guy. He's won national championships as a college coach. Tim Tebow was with him in college. Like, that's where most of his success has been. So I think for Meyer, you're just trying to build a culture, getting people to buy into what's had you be successful. We've seen coaches before go from the college level to the NFL and not have success. I mean, Nick Saban, who's probably the best college coach ever, did not have a very good career in the NFL. I mean, yes, obviously the times are much different, but we've seen things like this happen before. So, I mean, he's a guy that knows what's expected from Meyer. He's a guy that's won with Meyer. I think his presence would just be helping in building that culture aspect, even though I don't think his word would hold as much as it would as he did when he was in Florida. So, I mean, there's just a lot going on here. I don't really expect him to play. I mean, again, there's a difference between being in shape and being in NFL shape. Like, Tim Tebow's in great shape, but, the NFL is a complete different animal. So I don't expect Tebow to play at all. I think his influence will be just him in the locker room, him with Trevor, him with Urban, because that's a situation he's comfortable with.
Yeah, absolutely. And, when you touched upon it there, saying that they have a lot of money to play with, or, they had some good picks as well. Where does this raise the Jacksonville ceiling then? I mean, they're in a division with Indianapolis, who just got Wentz, but where do you see this Jacksonville team going for this season?
Well, I still think they need to be a little more active in getting a real true tight end. Obviously, their tight end room is not very weak. I don't think Tim Tebow makes it very much better. I even did a video here on Down the Block Sports when it comes to Zach Ertz. I think, why not? When you're Jacksonville, you got plenty of cap space. It's not going to cost very much. You have a young QB who can do who has the chance to be very successful. You might as well give him the talent when you have the chance. And I think that'd make a lot of sense. But, I mean, their tight end room right now is like Chris Manhertz, I believe is his first name, James O'Shaughnessy, Luke Farrell, like a lot of guys who aren't – I don't really know how good they're going to be next year. So I think Jacksonville has a chance to be very good because I really, really like the fact that they have Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence is one of the up-and-coming QBs in the NFL, obviously the number 1 pick last year. They're productive at running back. I mean, James Robinson, now Travis Etienne, who they drafted out of Clemson, who played with Trevor Lawrence in college. They'll be productive there. Their offensive line is okay. I still think they could use a piece or two there. And their receiving core, when healthy, can be pretty solid. They got 3 guys who can get down the field. So in a division that is competitive but beatable, I think Jacksonville could be solid. They have a worse place schedule. They obviously had the number 1 pick last year, so they're not going to be the toughest. The Texans are dealing with a QB issue. We don't have to get into that on this show, but Indy's good, but Wentz has been injured and shown inconsistencies. Tennessee is a very good team. I think they have the chance to win 10 or so games. I think if Jacksonville gets lucky and Trevor's as good as I think he can be early, I think they got a chance to do some damage because their schedule is really not that tough. But for a first season, I'm not expecting them to do that much damage. I still think Tennessee's going to come out and win this division. I think Wentz's health could determine if Jacksonville comes in second or third. But I think they're above the Texans, which, that's not saying very much. But I still think they can be productive in their first season. I think there is some upside with this team, but I still think they're too inexperienced. Coach has never coached in the NFL, a QB that's just playing at this level for the first time with a good but could be better talent. There's some wins. I think there could be some bad losses, but I still don't think this team is better than Tennessee. And like I mentioned before, if Wentz is there, I don't think they're better than Indianapolis.
For sure, and you touched upon it, getting Lawrence the weapons early. I do think that is a key, considering, you look at his college record, it's pretty much immaculate. I don't think he lost a college or high school game. I was talking to good buddy Devin about that. How do you think their second season is if they, get the weapons in and Lawrence has a bad season? Do you think that then he can bounce back, or what do you think his, how he's going to react under that adversity and the pressure of playing at the top level?
He's going to have to. We're going to find out early because this team isn't that great. But we've seen before in the couple games at Clemson where he was trailing, he did come back. Obviously, that didn't happen at the national champion or on the semifinals when they played Ohio State. But that's a great question because he's never really been in that situation before. Now, obviously, when you're leading from the quarterback position, it's something he's done before. He's won games. He's taken the talent around him and won pretty much at every single level. So, Trevor's a legit QB prospect. I think he has a chance to be absolutely awesome in the NFL. And if his offense can stay healthy, I think they'll be productive too. I don't love this coaching staff. I think it's too much college. A lot of their assistants they brought in were guys also at the college level. So we'll see how a lot of those things translate from a coaching perspective. But Urban Meyer's a guy that's won wherever he's been at college. Again, obviously the levels are different, but he has experience winning. Trevor has experience winning. We'll see if they can put it all together here in the NFL. But Trevor's really never been in that situation, but he's had a couple comebacks before in his college career that were pretty impressive. And he's going to have to do that again because he's going to have to play awesome if this team wants to get through teams like the Colts and the Texans or the Titans in their own division.
Absolutely. And, how long, because you do say, it's a very college experienced staff, not a lot of guys at the pro level. What do you think the patience is going to be from the fans and the organization? How long do you think Urban Meyer has to kind of make all this work together?
Well, I think he'll have his fair 2 or 3 years, unless it's disastrous, like a Matt Patricia in Detroit. I do think he has a little bit of flexibility. Obviously, he's had control of some of these draft picks. He has a young quarterback like Trevor Lawrence, their fan base. Think about it. The Jacksonville Jaguar organization hasn't had this much promise in its history because, Trevor Lawrence is, in year one could be the best. He has definitely the potential to be the best QB they've ever seen. Trevor Lawrence is amazing. He was number 1 for a reason. He's a winner everywhere he's been. He's a kid who has an absolute cannon, knows how to read a defense, coachable, works well with his receivers, gets the ball down the field. There's so much about Trevor Lawrence that he does that's awesome. So, obviously at the end of the day, you need to win. If you're not winning games, people are going to find a new coach there. But I think there is some flexibility there right now. They're young, they're up and coming. They had multiple draft picks where they drafted. Tyson Campbell has a chance to be a very solid corner, with CJ Henderson. We'll see how that duo pans out next year. ETN obviously is comfortable with Trevor Lawrence. They were very solid together when they played at Clemson. So, they're still in the building stages. Like I mentioned, the culture building stage, buying in, figuring out what works, what doesn't. But when you have a QB like Trevor, there's a lot of things you can do. You can get creative. And I mean, again, we need to see it for it to work, but I do think they'll have some flexibility, especially in year one, to get the job done.
And I want to kind of come back to Tim Tebow. I know we were talking about him earlier, and you mentioned great offensive weapons in James Robinson as well as Travis Etienne. If Tebow does get his shot actually on the field and taking snaps, what kind of stat line do you see his season having? Where do we think would be realistic for him?
Well, I mean, I personally think his best chance of making the team is on one of the two expanded practice roster spots. Maybe he plays like a goal line plays. I mean, other than that, I mean, the tight end room is not very good. Like we mentioned that before. So, I mean, I still don't really think he's going to make the 53-man roster, but maybe in a couple goal line situations, I'm sure he can catch some pretty nice passes. He's still in very good shape. Again, football shape is much different than physical shape, but I would not expect very much out of a 33-year-old Tim Tebow, whether he makes the team or not, to be that productive on the field.
Absolutely. And, I guess last question here, we'll kind of wrap things up. Before we do, make sure you subscribe to the channel, smack that notification bell, and leave a like on this video. Comment below, tell me what you think, and tell Walt what you think about Tim Tebow's ceiling and his future in this position with the one-year deal. Do you see with this one-year deal expiration, do you think that maybe Tim Tebow, if the season goes well enough, could get some sort of backroom role, like a staff role?
I mean, he has the history with Urban Meyer. I think that's a huge part of it, because when you look around the NFL, his contacts, the people that coached under him, well, one of them was McDaniels when he was in Denver. Belichick in New England, they're both in New England. They drafted and signed a QB this offseason. I don't think any of the coaches that were with him when he was on the Jets are still even in the league. I mean, I'd have to look back at that, but it's been a pretty long time since he had a New York Jet jersey on. So he has history with the coaching staff. I think that obviously helps. That's the reason why he's getting this tryout, basically. It's the reason why he got offered this deal. I mean, again, the practice squad roster has expanded. So if he wanted Tebow's presence around that badly, he can give him, one of those two extra spots. If he finds success, he fills in a role. His presence helps with the culture building aspect of Urban Meyer. If it helps build this organization to the team he wants to get it to, I mean, there's no reason to not have him around, whether he's on the coaching staff, part of whatever the Jags want to do. I'm surprised they're going this route. But hey, if that's what Tebow wants to do, it's what he's in the opportunity to try and do it. I mean, I hope for the best for him. He's a guy that, as most of you know, I work for MLB Network Radio professionally. I know how difficult it is to play the game of baseball. I watch it every single day. Tebow, after his football career, went into baseball and nearly made it to the MLB. That's extremely impressive. So, he has some athletic ability. He has a work ethic that's one of the hardest in sports. I mean, we've seen it at pretty much every level. He was above 500 when he started for a season. He won a playoff game. He just has, I mean, I don't think he's going to play. I'm just saying, he's a guy that's been successful when given a task, an opportunity to do something. So I hope he has the chance to make it. I think his best chance of making it is on the practice squad. I'm still not sold that he can do something, but it's pretty cool to see one of the best college players ever, a former first-round pick, a huge name that's familiar with the coach from Jacksonville, kind of giving it one final shot. Best of luck to Tebow. I'm not fully sold yet that he can do it, but there's a lot of storylines going around Jacksonville. New coach, the hometown guy comes back who won national championships. That coach you won national championships with is now the head coach. Hey, they're stirring up a fan base at least. If this doesn't work out, at least there's bringing a lot of attention to this team, and a lot of it is positive attention with guys like Trevor and other names that are familiar with the state, in the news cycle. So best of luck to the Jags. I'm a huge Trevor Lawrence fan. I hope he's very successful. Again, their organization has been pretty inconsistent, but I think Trevor can possibly do something here with this team, and hopefully Tebow makes it there with him. We'll have to wait and see what happens here in this offseason.
Absolutely. We'll have to check out the offseason, preseason, see how things go with this new 2021 NFL season. Walt, pleasure as always. Everyone for viewing in, thank you. We appreciate it. Make sure
Sure.
that you do subscribe to that channel, smack that notification bell, and tell us what you think is going to go on with Tim Tebow. Thanks for tuning in again. We appreciate everything. You're helping Down the Block grow, and we appreciate
Subscribe.
it all. Yeah. Hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you on the next one.